Okay, so number 8 goes to the original Phantasy Star on Sega Master System, and how ironic is that, because we all know that the Sega Master System has some of the worst box art in history, but there's a lot going on here. Okay, so in the center we can see Alice, you know, the main protagonist. We can see Noah on the left, we can see Odin on the right, and then there's Meow on the bottom right. Now, Meow, you can actually see that Meow has the silver tusk in its mouth. Noah, I'll admit, Noah, you know, he has an orange outfit, which he definitely didn't have in the game, so I guess that's not 100% perfect, but you can even see the monsters here. Look on the bottom left with the eyeball. That was a character in the game. Now, technically, it did not have the silver wings, but hey, whatever. I guess we'll let that slide. There's the bat on the top left, which that was definitely in the game. There's the sorcerer. I believe that was the name of the monster, was the sorcerer to the right of Alice. But then you have Odin on the top right, and it looks like it's kind of hard to tell because, you know, it's got that white background, but I believe that's a skeleton that he is holding, and yeah, that was an actual monster in the game. Now, Odin's outfit's a little bit questionable because you can see that his armor is just for his chest, and you can see his abs. You can even see his leg armor. It's non-existent, basically. I mean, he has like a knee pad. He has like a silver, or Laconian knee pad, and then he's got the Laconian boots. But like, I mean, the guy basically is what? He's got like underwear. Like, you know, the sorcerer's arm is in the way, but I mean, the guy's really not wearing much clothes, if you can see that. There is something about another thing that like doesn't really make sense, you know, is Alice's sword. If you notice, that is a fire sword. I mean, she doesn't have a fire sword in the game. She just has the Laconian sword, and she does have a spell called fire. So, fire sword, cool. Yeah, I guess so. But, you know, even with its flaws, I mean, you gotta give this one credit. I mean, the fact that they actually have monsters that appeared in the game on the cover art, and, you know, the Laconian armor is there, the silver tusk with Meow. That's just awesome. I mean, I had to give this one number 8. I had to say this was the best one. All right, number 7 goes to the Japanese box art for the first Phantasy Star game. And, I mean, you know, again, like, there's not as much continuity or specifics here. It's just the main characters, and that's it. There's no monsters here. I do got to give credit, and I did forget to mention this, but even in the first picture, you know, Noah is holding the Psycho Wand, so that's pretty cool. And you can even see it here that he is also holding the Psycho Wand in this one. And at least in this photo, you can see that Odin actually does have the Laconian axe in his right hand, which he didn't have in the American or Western version. You know, Alice has a regular sword. It's not a fire sword. So in terms of their weapons, it's definitely more accurate compared to the Western version. But at the end of the day, hey, I mean, this is the golden box, which, you know, the Japanese boxes were just more badass. I mean, you know, they all had golden boxes, and yeah, I mean, you know, those white checkered American boxes were just super boring. So this one, I have to give it number 7 because it's really good. It's just, I just had to give the American version the upper hand at number 8. So let's check out number 6 now. This is the Japanese box art, or Megadrive box art for Phantasy Star 2. And, I mean, there's Rolf, and there is a futuristic city behind him. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's all you get. I mean, there's a big gap between, you know, the number 8, number 7 to number 6. But that's the thing, like, that's just how bad some of these box arts are gonna get. So I think that putting this at number 6, I think it's fair because it's accurate. I mean, it's minimal, but it's accurate. Okay, that looks like Rolf. That looks exactly like Rolf. And, you know, the cities in the background, I'll admit that there should have been more gray rather than brown. But this does look like a futuristic city. I mean, yeah, I mean, sure, it looks fine to me. Now, number 5. Now, this will really make you think, like, wow, like, these box arts must be getting pretty bad the lower we go if this is number 5. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, it's just so basic that there's really nothing here that, like, can be offensive, because we will get offensive as we get further on. But, like, basically, it's just so average. It's so basic as hell that there's really not much to say bad about this. I mean, it is a pet peeve of mine that it just says PS3, and I can't read the Japanese characters, but I'm sure that just says, you know, Generations of Doom. And then on the bottom, if you can tell, kind of near Rise's crotch, it says Phantasy Star 3 with the actual words Phantasy Star 3. And this was like a pet peeve of mine. I remember even in the, you know, the American version of Phantasy Star 3, if you look at the title screen, it just has the PS3, and then it just, in the bottom, in like little text, it says Phantasy Star 3. I don't know, man. It just put Phantasy Star, the full title there. But there you go. There's Rise. Something worth mentioning is that his sword has like a trigger on it. Like, do you see that? Like, it's like he has a little slot to put his finger in. Like, it's almost like it's a gun or something. And, you know, it's not a gun. It's just a regular sword. So that's a little strange. But you know what? And there's one more thing about this that I think is worth mentioning. And it's not really the fault of the box art. It's really more of just a fault of the game. It's just that, like, they chose a character that has blue hair. So it's like if you played Phantasy Star 2 back in the day, and then you see the cover art for Phantasy 3, you're probably gonna think that that's Rolf. I mean, nobody would really blame you for that. They didn't even give him like a different shade of blue. They should have gave him a different hair color. It should have been green or red or blonde. I mean, I know Chaz was blonde for the Phantasy Star 4 protagonist, but you know, Phantasy Star 4 didn't exist yet. I mean, I just think they should have went with any color but blue. It could have. Why not black hair or brown hair? Like, I mean, it's just a little bit silly that they went with the same color hair as Rolf. And they knew they messed up on that because in 2008, when they made this album full of Phantasy Star music, you can see that you have Alice Landale on top, on the left is Rolf, and then Rise is on the right. You can see that, you know, they retroactively made his hair a different shade of blue because they can't have the same color blue hair. I mean, it's just, they just look way too similar. I mean, Rise does have like that cape outfit sort of thing, but that's, they did the right decision here by giving him, you know, a lighter shade of blue. All right, so number 4, we're gonna have to go with the American version of Phantasy Star 3. This one is pretty misleading. I mean, this, it's pretty crazy that this is so high up, really. This should be like number 2 or number 3. But like I said, I mean, the later box arts just get so bad that, you know, making this number 4 does make sense. The problem, there's a bunch of problems here. I mean, first of all, you know, what are we looking at exactly? Like this enemy that we see, this monster, let's make the photo a little bigger. Okay, this enemy's not in the game. Like, it's not in the game at all. Okay? So that's already a huge problem right there. This character that we see, I believe that's supposed to be Rise. You know, you can see that he has that same cape outfit. He's got a sword. It must be Rise. Rise doesn't have brown hair. Like, they changed the hair of Rise. That's pretty, you know, that's pretty offensive when you think about it. And why is there a staircase going into space? That doesn't make any sense. There's no like big giant staircase in the game. And then, like, even if you look up top, you can see the spaceship up top. Like, that's technically a spoiler. You know, it's not really until you get to like about the 3rd act of the game that spaceship becomes relevant. So it's a spoiler, but it's kind of not. It's like, it's so ambiguous that it's not like you can look at the cover immediately, especially back then, and immediately recognize that and say like, oh man, they just spoiled the game. Like, you would have no idea. So it's kind of a semi-spoiler, I guess. It's the least offensive type of spoiler you can have. But what is going on in this photo, man? Like, it's just weird. Like, it's like the Exorcist staircase, and Rise doesn't have the right color hair. There's a semi-spoiler up top with the spaceship. This monster is not in the game. So this is just such a weird, boring, misleading box art. Number 3 goes to the American version of Phantasy Star 4. There's a lot going on here, actually, more than you would even think. Yes, Chaz looks, you know, not like his hair's way too long. Chaz didn't have hair like that. You know, at least he's got a sword. That's cool. You know, the outfit, the colors, that does look like Chaz, but this just doesn't look like Chaz. The face and the hair does not look like Chaz. On the right, you can see that's Rika. I mean, that has to be Rika. She has her claws, she has the cape, the shoulder pads. That's Rika, but they gave her brown hair. It's just, why'd they do that? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, they gave, what is this with them, like, with the wrong color hair? Like, how do you mess something like that up? That's such a simple, basic thing. And you know, on the left, like, I remember thinking, like, okay, that must be Han, right? And you know what? On further inspection, like, take a closer look at Han. You'll notice that he has a cape. Okay? Han in the game did not have a cape. So you know who that is? I think that's Rune. Yeah, that's Rune. Rune's the only main character that really had a cape. The only male character that really had a cape other than Zio. That can't be Zio. And again, Han used knives in the game. And if you look closely at this guy's hands, you can see like that pink magic aura around it, like as if he's like, you know, a wizard. Rune is a wizard. I really think that's supposed to be Rune. Like, that character, first of all, the wardrobe is wrong. Like, that, like, brownish orange outfit he has, Rune didn't have that. And then he has brown hair. That looks nothing like Rune. Like, the cape, the magic, that's what makes me think that's supposed to be Rune. I don't think that can be Han. So, it's just weird, man. I don't know what they were thinking with that. This is really, really, they just got it so wrong. There's you're probably wondering why this isn't number 1, and I'll tell you why. The reason why this is number 2 and not number 1 is because, let's face it, Rune looks like Rune on the bottom left. Rika on the bottom right, that looks like Rika. And then on the up top in the background, you can see that's Dark Force. Okay, I mean, you see like 3 different Dark Forces in the game. Sure, that looks like Dark Force enough. Fine. That's fine. But look at Chaz. Look what they did to Chaz. They made Chaz a woman. Like, it's not, we're not talking about like, oh, different color hair anymore. We're talking about changing the gender. That is a woman. That's not a guy. There's no mistake about it. That is a woman. I can't believe they did that. And like, that's it. I mean, think about it. That's the only real problem with this box art. But it's so offensively misleading and wrong and just odd. It's just like, how did they do that? How did they make Chaz look like that? And it's not even like you could say like, oh, you know, it's just like a, yeah, it's Chaz, it just looks a little bit different. No, that's a woman right there. I can't believe they did that. That's so bizarre that they did this. So you already know what number 1's gonna be. Number 1 goes to the American version of Phantasy Star 2. I mean, let's make this a little bit bigger. I mean, look at, I mean, there's like, wow. Like, okay, Nay on the right. Okay, they got the purple hair, the purple outfit. They got that right. But Nay is like 50 years old, I guess, in this picture. And then look at the ears. You know, she's a Newman, right? So she has the pointy ears. But throughout all the Phantasy Star games, 2, 3, 4, and Phantasy Star, even on Phantasy Star Online, even the modern games, Phantasy Star Zero, like, Newmans had the pointy elf ears. These are not those kind of ears. These are like devil horns, basically. Like, they got the ears wrong. That can't be Lutz. That just can't be Lutz. First of all, it just wouldn't make sense to have Lutz and Nay on the main box art, like right there. Lutz doesn't appear. You play the game for dozens of hours before Lutz becomes a character, and Lutz never even really... Lutz doesn't join your party. He's like a secondary character. He's like an NPC that you talk to in this game. That cannot be Lutz. That has to be Rolf. They made him 65 years old. They gave him white hair, and look what he's holding. Like, he's holding a gun. Like, Rolf was not a gun user. Rolf used swords. Like, where did that gun come from? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, this is just, like, I can't even believe it. And, like, this one's notorious. I mean, you probably, before you clicked on this video, you knew this was going to be number 1. I mean, just look at them. Look at them both together. It's like an alternate reality where they're both, like, 40 years older. And it's just like, you know, when you think about all these box arts, like, it really begs the question, like, did these artists play the game. And like, I'm just wondering, like, how does this process even work? I mean, do they make, you know, in the process of making the game, do they just, because it's not like they give like do they give a beta copy of the game to the artists and say like, oh, this is, you know, okay, come up with something? Or do they like have somebody like give them a rough estimate on what to draw? Like, there's just no way that they played the game if they drew this, if they painted this or whatever they did. It's impossible. It's just so there. This is such a weird, ugly picture. It's just an ugly portrayal. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's an ugly picture. It's kind of nice, I guess, but it's a bad portrayal of the characters. Oh man. All right. Well, that's it. That's it for judging the box arts. I mean, I was surprised at how much I had to say. I'm surprised at how long this video is going to end up being. You'd think it would be like a really short video, but there was just too much going on here. So stay tuned for more Phantasy Star videos, more videos related to the classic Phantasy Star series. And that is a wrap, guys.